Abaluzi Bembuzi, how are you today? I trust everyone is okay. You'll forgive my lighting. Just concentrate on the message I want to bring to you today. The YPA model, is it a scam? Ladies and gentlemen, that is what I want us to discuss today. But before we dwell into the matter, I want to put a disclaimer. The intention of this video is not to bring anyone's business down. Number one, I don't intend to bring anyone's business down. Two, I have never had any discussion with the proprietors of the great YPA. So, what I am saying is my own observation, my own thinking about this great or this model. Therefore, I would like any listener to just listen in. Where I'm wrong, you are okay to ask me or to correct me or to share your opinion. I don't own this model. I've never, I've never been part of this model. But as a person who has been in this industry of livestock management, I feel I should add a voice to this. That is the disclaimer. I'm going to be as elaborate as I can. If you can, give it time. Listen, be open-minded, and let's all see how we either improve or how, we conclude on this. First and foremost, I've had so many issues. Personally, I've also had so many issues. By the way, I also want to state that I'm a great admirer, not of the model, but of the passion, of the character that Mr. Obed, be it Mr. J.B. Magezi, and all people that are in the goat industry or in livestock management that put in to make sure that we develop this market of livestock management. Ladies and gentlemen, before all this, the livestock sector was very underrated. No one took the initiative to develop it. And what we are seeing here are people waking up to see that they develop this market as an agribusiness that is sustaining livelihood. Let's go in deep. As told you, I'm going to be as more elaborate as I can. Please be patient with me. Let's learn, let's share ideas, let's pick something, or if it doesn't make sense to you, it is still fine. First, let me highlight the issues that people have raised or that have brought up. And I want also to say that I also had questions about some of these issues. But as the saying says, we keep learning, we keep learning. I've subjected myself to learning more than rejecting new ideas, more than putting people's businesses down. I'm not saying whoever is putting it down is wrong, because you have your own reason. But for me, I've taken our path to make sure I learn, to fine-tune my business. I'm sure so many other people also come to my videos and learn a lot, and they fine-tune their businesses. That's the spirit in which I come. I've never talked to these people. I just watch, learn. What I feel is not clear, I don't do anything. But I learned so many things. This is my thought process. So people have raised issues about the regulation. I have the same problems, as in, how is this thing regulated? Yeah? But regulation in developing industry like this doesn't necessarily mean the business model is wrong. Should the business be regulated? Yes. Should both the regulator and the business owner work together to make sure that the regulations set benefit the industry? That is the position I go through. So I'm not sure about the regulation of this great model. What I know that any deposit-taking organization that takes money from the masses has to be regulated by the Capital Markets Authority. But also at Capital Markets Authority, there is a lot of development that is happening. Whether or not YPA is regulated or not, I'm not aware, I'm telling you, and it's not my focus. I believe whether or not they are regulated or not, I believe it is incumbent for this Capital Market Authority to look for BED and YPA. Or the other way around. That's if YPA has already not gone to capital markets. Why is it important? One, it is within the duty of Capital Markets Authority to understand, does really YPA promote the well-being of the people of Uganda? If there are any clinches, that is the time to solve it. Yeah? Because I've never heard of anyone complaining about this model. So if there is any disconnect, us as the beneficiary, or you guys as the beneficiaries, you should be more interested in seeing this thing align more with the Capital Markets Authority than ever. But I'm not saying I'm sure it's not regulated. I'm just saying I've never had any discussion around that. So it's not a basis for me to start saying it's a scam, it's anything and everything. But as I say, get what you can get from this discussion and see how we can advance it further. So the regulation, I'm not sure. I believe everyone should be regulated, but also the regulation shouldn't be that steps at the intellectual property and thought process of business owners. If any regulator sees that business owners are running away from them, then it is time to engage, trying to build a middle ground so that service delivery is what continuous. That's why you see the likes of URA coming to you, let's work out this. That is the spirit that I expect Capital Markets Authority to be operating with us or with YPA, now that for them they have scaled their business. Yeah? Registration. I had concerns. I don't know. I've never checked YPA, how they are registered, what their promise is and everything. I've had people raising concerns about registration of the circle, 1, and 2 of the company. I want to state I'm not a lawyer. I believe YPA has lawyers, I believe whatever and everything. I can't comment to this because the Company Act really directs how a company should be incorporated and the steps to be taken for that to happen. I want to say that I've never looked into this. And the reason is simple. It is an independent organization. This is confidential information and everything. If there are people that have gone ahead and found out the registration of YPA, well and good. But what I'm saying is, let's see how we align. If this thing has been scaled and it is helping people, let's see how we can align. If there is any glitch, yeah. And there is also a saying that says that learning is such that you are able to utilize what one person is not doing, leverage on that, and do it better for your prosperity of your business. Yeah? So if there is any glitch here, any goat farmer, any livestock farmer, take advantage. The thing is, me, I don't know. Then, the other issue has been the prices of goats. Does it make sense that the prices of goat, you sell a goat of 750K, yet when you go down in Butambala and go down in Isembabule, go down in Nakasongola, you can get a goat of 350K. Those are the issues being raised. And I'm going to start giving my opinion. Then the final one, in my observation, is it a Ponzi scheme? And people have started quoting the likes of Capital Chicken and everything that happened in the market. Very rightfully so. People have trust issues, and these are some of the issues that any business that is trying to scale through crowd pooling and smart ways of pulling together people to engage in production and agriculture, this is what we are going to face. Because guess what? The likes of Capital Chicken have set a very weird and bad precedence when it comes to these kinds of model. But guess what? I've had so many discussions where YPA, Obed, JB come to shed more lights. But people are saying, you're not pulling it out together. And in my opinion, I'm like, why are they not pulling out things all out there for you to understand? And this is my thinking. YPA is a business. In business, there are things that are confidential, that if you put them out, they might actually affect your business by one, bringing you competition, because you've literally released your entire template. I might be wrong, but I think that might be one of the reasons. Because guys, if we don't have the discussions about this great topic, yeah, it might, one, kill YPA, kill all the other goat farmers that are trying to come up, and everything. So this is the spirit in as which I am coming up for this discussion. Yeah, so even if I'm a business owner, I wouldn't come and tell you, give you everything that, you know what, this is how I do my business. I'm risking and exposing myself to competitors. You know, I'm introducing myself to so many other risks. All of you do businesses that you may be aware. So, is it true that they should come out and say the truth of how the entire model operates? That is typically up to them. But for me, I want to concentrate on the promise. Because once I invest my money in this venture, what is your promise? They are promising to say that every year, if you give us one goat, every year we shall be giving you one goat at the same price you've bought, and we are going to take care of that goat without you paying anything. Then that is the promise. Now, for me, the discussion I want to drive, according to what I know, or according to what I think, because you think about things, is what they are doing, is it sufficient enough to fulfill that promise? Because that promise has been written in a verbal, I'm assuming, it has been written in a verbal agreement. One, so once I'm sure with that, then I would still push these other things of regulation. Is my money safe? What if this guy runs away with my money? Then we start having those discussions. But in my opinion, I want to think their promise, if I'm to imagine, is it doable? China asoboka. Ladies and gentlemen, the first step you will start, and I want to bring out this from my experience of structuring businesses, financial deals, in my previous places of work. What YPA, I think, let me use a disclaimer, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking, yeah, given the fact that I'm in this business, I want to project and think and everything, to say that if there is any way I can add my 2 cents to this discussion, I give my honest opinion. So, the first mistake, whoever is coming for the YPA, one of the mistakes that you will do is to think that YPA is only in the business of managing goats. By managing goats, buying goats, taking care of them, they produce, and then after 1 year, they sell, and they sell that is the way they want you to give back your money to you. I don't think that is right. And why I don't think that is right, I've seen so many partnerships, I've seen so many videos of how they are doing their work. And this is why I told you, I focus more on learning, well knowing that someone won't come there and expose their business to you, but you learn something. So, they are not in the business of just livestock management of goats. YPA, in my opinion, or what I've thought about and I've seen out there, they're in the business of one, goat trade. Two, they're in the business of money markets. By money markets, I mean T-bills, unit trusts, bonds, and etc. They're in the business of value addition. By value addition, I'll give you an example that they are now opening up various outlets, the likes of how you see Cafe Javas, various locations, whereby instead of buying a physical goat, you're buying the end product of the goat. Yeah? And that's how they are doing this business. Now, they're in the business of SACCO, the SACCO business, saving and cooperatives. Yeah? And what that is, they're in the business, and then it's upon that those businesses, and so many more that I may not know, but I can only say what I see. And it's upon that they base on to give you this promise of 1 goat per year at 750. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go deeper into some bit of numbers. How? So, they tell us we don't verify where there is a problem, because when people say be a listed company, so that we can have some of these numbers and see that what you're saying is true. But let me assume what they are telling us is true. I'm not defending YPA, but I'm just saying let's be careful of how we discuss this model, but also let's be articulate of notifying them of where their flaws and where their flaws are. Yeah. So assuming they say they have 100,000 goats, 100,000, 100K goats. Ladies and gentlemen, it is true that you can get a goat at say 350K. Is it a crime for someone to sell you a goat of 300K at 750K? I don't think it is a crime. Why? When a trader goes to China and buys nasubula a sawa, oba nakusubula this item kumutwalo gumu, najireta, and they bring it to Uganda ne bagisitunda emitwalo ebiri. That is their margin to cater for their operational costs, and that is trading. They're in the game of goat trading. And agriculture, the ordinary ways of doing agriculture to ways of doing agriculture as a business, what we call agribusiness. So we would be wrong to judge these people whereby they come to Muvawala. I'm using Muvawala because I don't sell goats at 350K, but any other farmer who is willing to sell, they buy 100,000 goats at 350K. Yeah? And then when they to 750. This is not a crime, ladies and gentlemen. So, assuming what the difference between 750, yeah, is actually, I think, 400K. So, meaning in goat trade, they're making 400K times 100,000 goats. So wano by now $4 billion shillings. Don't focus more on the numbers because they are not verifiable. Just use it for discussion purposes. Obaba ine mbuzi lukumi, obaba ine mbuzi bitano, I don't have information about that. But I just want to show you and to help you. So, meaning, in just goat trade, nga atunze mbuzi lukumi, akozeke mitwala ana kuba yagisuubudde mitwala 35 gwe n'agikuza ku 75 akoze obuwumbi 4 ogwo musango in my opinion si musango kubanga gwani ajja okudingiriza mu dduuka lyo agambe nti wasuubula mutwalo otunda mitwalo 10 then ozizza omusango. That is good trade. But what YPA in my thinking, when they get this money, it is a great source to promise you emitwalo 700 to fulfill this promise of 750k for one goat each year, then for as long as you can be with them. Because when they get this money, what do they do, in my opinion? They are going to get 4 billion shillings and bring it into money markets. This is approaching business as an agribusiness. Kati chitutawanya tetuli nyo used to these kind of things. We should learn to do business, but also consider any other auxiliary business around that business. Titokola chintu chimu. Kati yazze abasemu obuwumbi 4. Amazo basikamu obuwumbi 4. By the way, you forgive me, whoever is there, forgive me, but I feel we should focus on building towards this than okwekuba. On coming together to fune regulation as an industry, tukole ebintu nga bwebi than obirwanisa, because ultimately we are all gonna benefit. Kangende maso. So, mbadde magamba nti tubadde wano ku kya good trade. I'm trying to show you my thinking about this model. So, mbadde nkyabagamba ekya good trade nti I'm focusing, can this guy fulfill the promise of paying you 750k, one goat each every year for your one goat you gave him? We shall all judge and understand if it is really a possibility. So I've told you, if the guy claims he has 100,000 goats, for me as an industry, that is a celebration. Because we have one person who has managed to scale goat farming that no one has ever done. And we are thinking this is changing, ladies and gentlemen. So when someone figures out a model, let's discuss this model as we are asking our questions. Let's also look at the positives within the model. So Mbagambye, as I say, 4 billion shillings just by buying 350k from a local farmer there and selling it at 750. He has liquidity. We are calling this liquidity. But also, he has the asset, which are there, and these goats here, these are assets to me. So whether they are worth, whether these assets are worth the 750k he has sold to you, then it's what I want now to what? To think about. So, element ya goat trade yakoze sente kati gwe weeraliikiridde gayo n'amaze okunsikamu obuwumbi 4 sente zange zinadda wa oba zinadda zitya. Now agenda kukwata obuwumbi buno 4 abutweke mu money markets. Depending on his situation, whether sente azaagalirawo ajja kusalawo nziteeke what mu unit trust nziteeke mu ki mu treasury bills mu treasury bonds oba mu ki simanyi gy'ateeka ssente zammwe oba simanyi oba akikola simanyi naye nze ŋŋamba mpa buwi ndowooza zange kaakati obuwumbi buno buna wobusa mu unit trust right now unit trust attracting what do you call it interest rate of about no tugamba kale 12% per annum meaning at 12% per annum zino sente zigenda kuba zimukolera obukadde obulala nga 4.5 450 million per year per annum ku 12% nkugambye focusinga ku buwumbi buna simanyi oba buli buwumbi buna oba kalikamu oba ziri million 10 I don't know what I'm doing is just for purposes of so wanakwata zino nazitwala as a crowd fund nazisa mu money markets are genuine are genuine avenues of investments. Gold trade is a genuine avenue of making money as a business. So, asobola okukozesa zino sente miliyoni 4.5 kajjukira akoze obukadde biliyoni 4 wanakozeyo n'endala 4.5 kati atandise okukola sente nga kampani. Wamala okukola sente ezo nga kampani akoze obuwumbi obuna ate bumukolere miliyoni 4 nene buno nga weebuli olw'okuba abutadde mu money markets ofuna bulungi kakati kitegeeza this guy has built a base emukozesa okulaba nga gwe aba yakusuubiza mitwalo gyo 75 at any one time wamanya nti ne omwaka guweddeko nga weetaaga sente zo akubira bukubizi gundi ono bamuyita batya custodian owa sente zino obuwumbi obuna n'agamba nti n'abakasitoma 2 buli omu ayagala emitwalo gye75 just anime within one day abazizza sente zo ng'azikusasula abatannaba kutuuka nga sente zigenda zisigala zikola amagoba jjukira wano abantu abalala era bakyayingira mu gold trade. I'm just thinking out. Kakati, is this a good model for someone? 1, taina ttaka. 2, taina busobozi. 3, taina tayagala kwestressing ayina business ze omuntu atula mu office atula mu gundi nakola ebibye tagenda genda mu farm abonebone na farm. Is it good passive income? Yes. Negwe okweraliikirira wadde nga wayinza okubaawo reasons okweraliikirira tunulira mbuzi eri okajja okuguza 75 mubuuze bino obikola waba abikola nze ndowooza abeera ne capacity wendowooza. You can tell me what you think. So akutte kakati gwoba omugamba nti zinakozeeko nnyo lwaki insurance company just because it's regulated by the Capital Markets Authority and that industry has been there for 1,000 years. So it has evolved and developed over time. Ekitali ku industry ya mbuzi. Naye insurance company gye kujja ne kugamba omanyi buli mwezi mpe emitwalo 10 abantu 1,300,000 ne basubscribinga nekola obuwumbi 5 nekwata obuwumbi bwo 5 nekola ekintu kye kimu nessa money markets nessa investment plans endala na buli kimu gwe neko promisinga nti n'omwana wo anaweza emyaka 5 ng'atuuse okudda ng'atuuse okusoma tugenda kuwa sente bweziti. Lwaki tobuuza sente ezo zigenda kukolebwa zitya? Engeri sente ezo wezikolebwa eri simple bazigatta nga pool ne bazisa in proper investment procedures nga money markets bye bino bulijjo mwami Kakande byababuulira then ne zikola amagoba ago gaba amala okulwaninga operational expenses then n'okuwa promise eyo. Sikiwa nti mwami Obedi kyakola kyanjawulo n'ekyo mu kulowooza kwange kiba kyanjawulo I stand to be corrected, I may be wrong, and everything. I put that disclaimer for all reasons. So, nze wendaba omuntu nga structuring ekintu ekyo nga kirimu trade, kirimu money markets. How do these money markets work? Bulijjo gavumenti yaffe eno ekulembera His Excellence President yeewola era mulaba budgets ezibeera mu budgets nga bakola budgets. Kakati oluusi gavumenti epreferringa okola local borrowing over foreign borrowing. Government preferring okola local borrowing eyita through agents like Sanlam, Stanbic, Old Mutual, and so many. Nejja sente zino nga kati akawumbi buno obuna mu public nebwewola nebusasula through these avenues eza unit trust, treasury bills, bonds, and other things. So that is already controlled by the Ministry of Finance through the central bank. Kakati ono wachikola tayawukana na insurance company ebasuubiza policy eno naye ebanga policy outuveo saka chi complicating nnyo nendoza ofuna some bit of a light mwecho chechimu bank Stanbic, Stanchart, Centenary naye collecting a deposit because regulated by a regulator who is Bank of Uganda and other bodies. Chenabagandi simanyi obona ali regulated nene wabatali regulated. The discussions should be if this thing is helping people, let's see how it gets into the regulation map. That's if it hasn't been. Ochekera and tetunailinga business eno mbunfu just because they never regulated. Yeah? Netugambe nti okay, should our request be that okay, how do we have business ngeno business eyomuntu omulala yenna akola ekintu bwe kiti okubeera seamlessly regulated so that people can benefit from this kind of thing. Oba nfunibwa bulungi. Then tosobola kutereka buwumbi buno bonna all this money nga tukozeseza central system eya cash which is the central bank, financial regulations and everything. Because sente zibeera mu gundi. So government ebesobola okufuna emisolo, ebesobola okukola ki, that flow of liquidity, banks zifuna into liabilities and everything. So tuleme kubeera tuleme kusindiikirizibwa kulowooza nti no bye tulaba ku face bye bifu just because someone is not telling you their model. And I'm not saying this is their model, but I'm just thinking out loud. So, wafuna obuwumbi buno bumukoledde zino sente zituyamba okupromisinga omuntu ono emitwalo gye750 wadde nga yakolako ku gold trade kuno okutali musango. Then money markets, because there is now a lot of liquidity, this has been done by I must say 5 years. Yatugamba emyaka 16 nemwe kibabo byomutwe watandika ddi wali wa myaka emeka nze kale kandisalidde 5 years kitegeeza omwami ono wabanga akola kino alina 4 billion every year times 5 years okitegeera times 5 years after this 5 years meaning omuntu ono alina a lot of liquidity that way okumubanja emitwalo 75 is a drop in an ocean. Era because of this liquidity accumulating through his sales scheme, through his whatever, his offices and everything and operation, wava wano mu money markets wagenda mu value addition nagenda Rubaga nagamba omanyi okwongera okubeera sure and secure that I can add value and produce this promise to my client. Enyama mu kifo ey'embuzi emitwalo 10 mu kifo ky'okugitwala mu katale bampe kilo emitwalo 2 oba gumu 8 oba gumu kitundu ye market y'embuzi kati kanfune my bazita batya my slaughter slaughter oba kanfune my distribution centers whereby instead of okunsubulako embuzi ennamba ngenda kutunda nyama ku sowani nti ntunze kilo emu 1 kg nga ndigaseeko ngisiise na buli kimu njikuwadde nkuteereddeko fries na biki na buli kimu, okoze order online nejja ne baba delivered. Nti ennyama gye nandituuze kilo ku mutwalo gumu kitundu 15k oba 18k, kaakati wano osobola ogitunda 25k, kubanga plata y'ennyama eya kilo ngikuguzizza ku mitwalo 7 70k. Wenzijako obumonde bwe nkuteereddeko, butto, ensala gy'abakozi, mu kifo ky'okutunda embuzi eno ku mutwalo gumu kitundu gitundire ku mitwalo 2 kitundu oba 3, ne tuddeyo ne tuyomba. Naye nga mbuzi kyoma muziraba, ayina ey'entinda, ayina ey'embalala, ayina ey'eggomba, ayina wareva n'ezo zonna. Kaakati okujjako nga twagala naye atugambe nti buli lunaku otta embuzi meka, naye ka mbabuulire, bw'abanga ayina mbuzi chomas ziri kaŋŋambe 6, 6 of them, nga buli emu ayina capacity okutta embuzi kaŋŋambe 5, so 5 times 6, kitegeeza ayina 30 goats zatta every day. With the 30 goats every day nga zifa embuzi 100,000 mu mwaka, ziba embuzi ntono nnyo, oba kale mu myaka 3 oba 4 ng'omuntu atta embuzi 3. Tell me one person in this industry that has that capacity. Neye mu mbuzi kyoma ye newabanga ayina branches 6 nga buli branch etta embuzi 5 z'embuzi 3, kitegeeza omwezi 3 times 3 z'embuzi renda. What is 3? 3 times 30. I think z'embuzi nga renda buli mwezi. Kati what is embuzi 9 buli mwezi ku population y'embuzi 10,000? This guy is working with numbers and he has scaled this business. So buli emu waba agitunda kaŋŋambe kale tugamba ya kilo, embuzi nga kilo 2 kale, nga buli emu ya mitwalo 3 egye emitwalo 6. That is also another revenue stream. Kyova olaba eno promise gwe gyakusuubiza is not his problem. Ladies and gentlemen, eyo value addition. Omusajja atambuza ekintu alinganga wolaba Mandela, nti ogenda woba waka ng'oli kiwatule, you just order embuzi nekusanga. He's trying to create more value for these goats that are on his farm. Ochegera awo nenvawo n'afuna sako because of this too much liquidity from mbuzi chomazi, value addition, from money markets, from goat trade. He has capacity to formulate a circle. I told you I don't know how this circle is regulated. If there is any issue there that anyone is aware about, in as far as we all know what the law says about circles. Naye circle eno atandise okukola partnership ne other regulated money lenders because ye talina gundi license ya circle to lend out this excess cash for a profit by people that are regulated, that have that expertise. All that is to create wealth and build liquidity to fulfill your promise of 700k per goat jomwa. Meaning he's doing it for you, but more or less for himself, which is any ideal businessman's idea. Or check it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, yeah, we can still do further research. We can still do further research, but let me summarize this for you. Let me summarize this for you. I agree with anyone who has issues around regulation. We live in a country that is bounded by laws, that enacts laws. We have members of parliament, and we should respect the laws that they are enacting. However, also, craftsmanship of business, formulating of businesses, building of new industries and new businesses is dynamic. So we find sometimes in a situation when the regulator is not aligned with the levels of business development within the market. When we find ourselves in that situation, what kind of discussions do we have? Do we discourage the innovator, the business owner, or we encourage periodic discussions between the regulator and the innovator of business to see that there is alignment for as long as there is value in that business? Also, in an event that the regulator seems to be failing the craftsmanship of the business owner, what discussions do we do? Do we hit at the business innovator, or we also do both? 3, once we find ourselves as business innovators that it is difficult to operate within the legal frameworks of the set laws, do we run away from the law, or we keep engaging the law so that we either amend or consider or things like that? Those are the discussions we need to have, ladies and gentlemen. I know what it means to start a business. I know what it means to be creative. That's why I take little time in putting anyone's business down than trying to advise of what could be. So etuba tu solving ekintu, regardless of the flaws around the model, let's always keep that in mind. Have people been cheated? True, 1,000%. Are there people out there in the market that are still want to use such models and everything to steal people? True. So we are mixed into that kind of wing. Tetumanyi. Naye, as we do that, let's be careful of how we approach it. So, ladies and gentlemen, to me what I see here, I see livestock, that comes into livestock trade. This is management. That I see coming to livestock trade. From livestock trade, I see proceeds here that are going into money markets, which leads into value addition. Okay, let me write it. Addition. Then from that value addition, this is where you have the muzichomas and everything. Then here is where you have the T-bills, T-bonds, unit trusts, and etc. I don't know which one is that. So I see also the circle to create like a solid financial backbone, which is the financial backbone. That in any event that any of these fails, the circle and its proceeds come to bail them out. Then ultimately, it goes back, and this is YPA. And I'm saying I might be wrong. Don't ask me, I might be wrong. So, my message to Mr. Obed, you've scaled your business. We are all striving to scale our businesses. Let's give as much detail as we can. If there is anything here that is not adding up, work with the regulators. But the best way to push regulation is not in isolation. The best way to push regulation is if all the players come together and unite as one. That's when the regulators will see the actual value in what we are trying to push for, you know? So, I don't see YPA as my enemy, unless otherwise when I'm proven otherwise in a later stage. I don't see any livestock manager as my enemy, but rather as an opportunity to collaborate and build this great initiative of livestock management. That is what I see. But if there are any flaws that people are raising and everything that may not be at my disposal, kindly work around, deal with them. We don't want what we've built so far to go in vain. And we know the work we put in, we know the work that every breeder puts in to get to such levels. Abalunzi b'embuzi, mwebale nnyo. I pray I've put more light. This is what I think. I think it's a sustainable way. Whether the law is failing us or we are failing the law, at that point I'm not privy to that information to be able to discuss that. Thank you very much. Once again, we are Mvala Good Farms and Properties. We are your premium livestock managers and your real estate partners. This is all real estate, and I feel it's in the right direction. Thank you very much.